Can I give you a very warm welcome to this, the first of what I'm calling my Sunday spiritual exercises. You know, on weekdays at the moment in our prep school, the children of key workers who come to school have a regular fixed appointment at 9 o'clock with a man called Joe Wicks, who is also known as the body coach. And for half an hour, they will join in with him on a whole range of physical exercises. And most of us are aware these days of the importance of keeping physically active, and that that's not only good for our bodies, but also good for our minds, for our mental health. Now, this weekend, the Welsh Government has tightened up on the restrictions about exercising outside of homes. And it seemed to me that this was heading in the wrong direction. And two thoughts came to my mind. First of all, if the Welsh Government were going to make it harder to exercise, then I wanted to offer some alternatives. And also, thinking of Joe Wicks and his popularity with his physical exercise, well, I wanted to remind us that exercising our spirits is just as important as exercising our bodies. We are not simply physical, we are spiritual as well. So on a Sunday morning, I thought I would just offer for a few moments a spiritual exercise. Like our physical counterparts, this is something that does not require any specialist equipment. But unlike our physical counterparts, this is not an exercise that is likely to disturb anyone who's living above you or below you or anyone in the next room. So I hope it's something that you can find a time and a space to join in with. It is important that you have a quiet space or a space in which you can feel quiet, and also that anyone else that you happen to be living with understands that this is important to you, and that for those moments where you're in that space, that you're not to be disturbed, but that time is to be respected. At this point, you may want to pause the video because I need you to find that space and to get comfortable. It doesn't bother me whether you stand or whether you lie down or whether you sit. There's a piece of ancient wisdom that says, pray as you can and not as you can't. So go with whatever is good for you. But find that space now, and then we'll begin our exercise. I was going to call myself the spirit coach, just as Joe Wicks calls himself the body coach. But I noticed that name's been taken by a gentleman in America who charges $45 to ring you up and give you some spiritual advice. Well, this session is entirely for free, because what we're going to be doing is something that people have done for very, very many years. This is old wisdom. There's nothing new about it. But sometimes we need the encouragement to do things together, and that's what I'm offering you. So get yourselves comfortable and find a space where you can breathe easily and begin to settle down. You may want to just lower the eyes, or you may want to close the eyes and begin to pay attention to your breathing. And just take 3 or 4 good deep breaths, feeling the breath go into your body, down to your stomach, and then back out through your nose. And all I want to suggest we do this morning is to repeat with the breath a very simple mantra. On other days you may choose your own phrase or word, but for today let's use the one I'm going to give you. And in a time like this of social isolation, it's one I think is really important for us to hold on to. However, we want to interpret it. And it's based on that wonderful story that we've been following in the news recently of Captain Tom and his wonderful exploits, and now his wonderful hit record. And the mantra is based on the tune that he chose to sing. I never walk alone. I never walk alone. I want you simply to repeat that phrase quietly or silently as you attend to your breath going in and going out. And perhaps as you continue to repeat those words, you may want to think of who that phrase brings into your mind. Who is it that walks beside you? Who is it that lets you know that you are never alone? And as you think of who that person is or who those people are, simply take a moment to give thanks for them. And as we come to the end of this quiet time, continuing to repeat those words, but also paying attention to the breath, and perhaps closing with 3 or 4 deeper breaths. And then slowly opening your eyes, returning to this space. I hope you enjoyed that meditation. You know, as a Methodist minister, I'm very lucky in that every 7 years I'm allowed a sabbatical, which is a 3-month period away from work. And people do all sorts of things in their sabbaticals. Some will go on long walks. Some will do research into an area of study that they've always wanted to look into. Some will take time to be with their family. Some people will travel the world to places they've always wanted to visit. And one of my colleagues who'd been away for a sabbatical came back, and when I asked him what had he been doing, he simply said, "I've been learning how to breathe." And sometimes it is that simple, that we need the time and the space and the encouragement to go back to basics, to realize that we have in our breath something which can always bring us calm and peace. But also the simple remembering that we are not alone. and that there are people that we need to be thankful for, is something else which can ground us at a time when so much is up in the air and so much is confusing and distressing. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll join me again next Sunday morning.